Bev and I was married for right at 40 years, and the last couple of years she began to have develop some problems, and the doctors never really could figure out what was going on till she broke her arm. And once she broke her arm, they found her blood count was off, and then they went in and they done some tests, and that's when they found the liver cancer.
Don and I were married for 43 years. We went together for 5 years before that, so my whole life was Don. And we had 2 children, a girl and a boy, and life was wonderful. Everything I ever asked God for, He gave me. So when our son got sick in 1999, had a liver disease, very rare, nothing they could do for him. And he served the Lord, so he just depended on God, never complained. And in 2008, things just started to crumble.
She had the surgery, and actually she had 3 surgeries within a couple of days. Within about 3 weeks after the surgery is when she passed away. Then we actually lost my dad a year later, and then we lost Jen a month later. And Jen fought cancer for right at 10 years, I believe it was.
David died in December 2008, and that was a struggle because he thought he was going to make it. Never a doubt in his mind that God was going to take care of everything, and of course He did, but not in our way. And Don had gotten sick in August of 2008. Never been sick a day in his life. Never doubted that God was going to take care of that too. But after David died, Don struggled. And in February 2009, Don died.
Going through all that, kind of hate to say it, but it shook my faith. You know, I didn't stop believing in God. Didn't stop going to church, although I wanted to. And went through a real depressing time.
It was 4.5 years before I met Clint, and it was just the right timing, you know. And we kind of struggled a little bit, and I took a little vacation, and I talked to God 1,500 miles, you know. And I had decided, you know, Clint was still grieving, you know, where I had been 4 years. It was only 2 for him, and I knew that was going to be a rough summer for him. And I'd been through the death of a child, and so had he, and I wanted to help him, but you can't. You know, you have to do it yourself. And somewhere along the line, we both just, you know, and that was another thing we shared. That winter, I had decided, you know, I could not go on living the way I was living. I mean, I went to church and I had my family, but you know, when you're home alone, you're alone. And didn't realize how much till I met Clint.
Friends of ours introduced me to a young lady named Pat. And we had similar experiences. We ended up in Florida at the same time. Went for a walk on the beach, started off at Starbucks and had a great time. Knew there was something special there, but I wasn't sure what it was. It's kind of like the song, you know, joy comes in the morning. But, you know, I always told Pat, I said, you know, that was my life. Her and Jen and Tim, they were my life. That's the reason I went to work. That's the reason I came home. Had many opportunities where I could just go out. I could go out and get drunk, do what everybody else did. But you know, God put a love in me for him. And when I gave my life to him, I gave my life to him. When Pat and I met, it was just like a breath of fresh air. I was like, wow, you know, couldn't believe, like she said, you know, I couldn't believe how lonely I was. And God put a love for Pat in my life, in my heart. You know, God has given me more. Even though everything I had was taken away, God has given me more.